Thank you for joining, everybody. It is the Sanctum. We are the Spectrum Sectorum. This is Shedding Light. I am Brandon Liu, joined by Dove. How you feeling, Joe?
I'm good, but something bit me on the way in today, so I'm feeling a little infected.
Well, I hope none of your symptoms show up right now because we got to talk about the episode, the second episode of The Last of Us, which is, oh my God, coincidentally called Infected.
You see what I did there?
But the infection is reaching more than just you and me, because today we are being joined by our buddy on the channel. Jace, come on down.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. I found a mushroom in the backyard, so I'm about to set the house on fire.
Just gotta bomb it.
Bomb it, yeah.
Totally bomb it, yeah.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
No, thanks for being here. And before we even go any further, if you're joining us live right now, this is the first time we're going live. And you can continue to see us live every week and be aware when we do that by hitting that subscribe button. So shed some light, if you can, on the subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, of course, you could hit the follows and likes wherever you're watching, because we are streaming on Facebook and Twitter as well. So yeah, hit those buttons. It really helps us out. Full disclosure, when we did Looking Forward just a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about this show, and Joe was the one who's like, hey, when are we going to do Shedding Light? And which show are we going to do it on? And we said that we're going to do The Last of Us. It seemed like Joe and I were the only ones looking forward to The Last of Us.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, Jason's here.
Yeah.
Can I say,
join us?
I was so done with this genre of show. Walking Dead had killed it for me. Fear of the Walking Dead, all that. I'm over it. Man, that first episode. Wow. Have I done a 180?
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible. It turned a lot of people around. There's some great success right now. Last week when Joe and I were talking, we were talking about how the first episode was the second biggest premiere in HBO. I'm not sure if it's HBO's entire history or their streaming history. Back when everybody was just on cable. Yeah, back when everybody was like on cable, and there was only one place to see it. Yes. Yeah. Before DVR and anything, I'm quite sure Sopranos pulled some pretty big numbers.
Right.
Yes. But of the last decade, this has become the number 2 most watched show, and they continue to make history on the second episode, because on the second episode, they are the largest episode growth rate. Normally people check in and you either have your following or you don't. By the second show, by the second episode, there might be some drop off. This show has seen growth, the largest amount of growth in HBO history, and that is really cool. And I'm sure it's making a lot of people in the video game industry very happy, because people are buying the games. People who never touched the Last of Us games are buying. We're seeing growth.
We like that money.
Yeah.
You know what I think is behind it, though? It's really behind the quality of the production team behind this. And if you guys don't know, this is made by the same people who made Chernobyl, HBO's massive hit from last year. And that show is incredible. And the care that they're giving to this show, and I've not played the game myself, so I only come from somebody who loves film and television. That first episode was so gripping. In fact, the first 5 minutes is how I got locked in. The exposition around what the virus was.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then
they're finding ways.
Yeah, look at that. That's incredible.
22% up. Biggest jump for HBO ever.
Yeah.
Big jump.
Yeah. And you know what? Again, I'll just reiterate. That's because they're making great television. It's not even... That jump wouldn't even be anything to do with the game as such. It's just the word is out that this is top tier television.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, it's funny. You talked about the first 5 minutes of last week's episode drawing you in. I don't know if this is always going to be the pattern, if we're going to continue to do time jumps, but the second episode continued in the same fashion. by bringing in another. This one not jumping as far back as like 1960s, but going to September 24th, 2003.
Yeah.
We would be in Indonesia.
Yep.
Jakarta.
And yes, Jakarta, Indonesia. And Christine Hakim is playing the role of Dr. Ibu Ratna. And she has this incredible this cold open gives her this incredible, terrifying experience. There's a lot of political turmoil at the time. Some government officials come in, police walk into restaurant, they pull her out while she's getting her tea. They want her to take a look at a body. One of the doctors already on the scene wants to show her something, and they're like, no, let her take a look.
Yeah.
And then we see one of the it was calm. It was a calm, terrifying moment.
The best kind.
Featured, it showed this dead woman on a slab, the doctor inspecting, and we find the fungus. And this is before the real outbreak of it all. This is just the start. When this moment hit you guys, did it hit you guys as much as it hit me? Because for me, this was terrifying.
It did. And can I just say, at that time, because we're close to Indonesia here in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
At that time, we'd just come off a terrorist attack a year before in the Bali bombings, right? It was the biggest terrorist attack in Southeast Asia in its history. So Indonesia locked itself down. They were also dealing with SARS at that time. There is a banner, as you can see her walking down into the room to inspect the body. There's a big banner there talking about SARS. So it was so perfectly timed, the location of how they've done it. It was, but yeah, that whole scene. Are you talking to the moment of the thing coming out of the mouth or the scene afterwards?
Oh, well, right now we're talking about that because I want to hang on to that for a second.
Yeah,
you guys,
that body.
Woo,
yeah.
You guys, between shows like, we have the VHS vault. We've talked about horror plenty of times. I know Joe's a big horror guy, and this is not a traditional. This is not a traditional, I guess, horror. In a movie, you only have limited time to do your jump scares, but I still expect to see certain horror elements brought in. And was it just me, or was anyone else just kind of expecting the hand to bite down on her when she went in with the forceps?
You're expecting a moment
for a chomp.
You're definitely expecting a moment, but you know what? Yeah, this is the brilliance of what they did. They didn't give it to you. No. The horror comes from the stillness of the reality of what is going down. Her realization in that moment, that's what's the horror's coming from, in my opinion.
I agree. And how about her reaction when she's speaking with the military advisor?
Oh yeah, no, we can. That was a cold moment because there was the discussion, and then there was a whole lot of silence.
I need Anita. Yeah. What got me is the fact that the idea is that it's in the wheat, and that sucks because I live in New York City, and we are famous for all things wheat, including pizza, bagels, sandwiches. So we're screwed.
If I'm correct, I could be wrong here, but I do believe Jakarta, Indonesia is one of the world's biggest flour providers. And so it makes sense why this would be such a world-reaching phenomenon.
Yeah.
So it was amazing that they chose there. And this is one of those things where the show differentiates itself from the game. The game, they never outright kind of tell you where it started, but it's kind of hinted, implied that it was in South America. But similarly, it was mushrooms growing onto plant life and flower. And so this was a big jump. And it was always teased to us, but never actually said to us. Because in the last episode, we saw that Joel didn't get his birthday cake.
No.
You know,
but creepy grandma got her biscuits.
Yes, she did, and those are some big yeasty biscuits.
And she was like, and I was like, oh, what's going on?
That moment on the couch, though, I want to talk about the more scarier things. There are two parts to that bit on the couch I've got to bring up. One is the general, I assume it's a general or commander, explaining that it was in a week, and her going, all right, how many people? 14.
Yeah.
You know, we had to execute them all. All right. How did she get bitten? And they go, I don't know. So we know patients, you know, it couldn't be found. The second part, and I'll let you, the second part when he asks her, what do we do, guys? Wow.
Yeah. Bombed him on.
Yeah. She's
not wrong.
No.
She said there's no vaccine, there's no medicine.
It's a fungus. What are you going to do?
I think there is a brilliant juxtaposition that we see here in this moment. There are certain tropes that we see in media, and often we see the military being excessively cold. And I'm not calling the doctor cold at this moment. You could see that there's so much remorse in her heart as she says it. But a lot of times we see the military portrayed as this cold entity. And they might be the ones to suggest bomb. We got to bomb them. And this time it's the doctor.
Yeah.
And if you look into the eyes of the military man, realizing what's happening, he's afraid. That the doctor's telling him bomb. That's the only explanation. That's the only.
It was a brilliant way to film that.
And
scene.
He was terrified.
He was like,
And we don't just jump to the next scene. We stay on her in silence, tea shaking. Doesn't even take a sip of take me home.
Yeah,
I want to be with my family.
Heartbreaking. With the fact that you were talking about old stereotypes and tropes. Would have been back in the day. She would have gone with the military and she would have been flowing off somewhere to work on research. No, she realized she's dead. She's dying. And she just wants to go home and be with her family when they bomb her. Powerful.
She doesn't even look like she wants to escape. I think she's aware of the realistic possibility that there may no be escape. And so I'm going to spend this time with my family before things get worse. And that was heart-sinking, heart-wrenching.
And the benefit of having the guys that did Chernobyl's story doing this story is they know how to capture the drama in those silent moments. Yeah, they pace it. Like if you haven't seen Chernobyl, make sure you go check that out because it's like it's not isolinear. It's kind of a jump around story, but how they get into each of the characters and the drama that goes on and the dickhead boss, it just matches so well with what they're doing here, and it shows. And I'm here for every moment of it because, oh my god, that scene where she's just like bomb everybody and I want to go home. Everybody knows they're dead.
I could have turned off the episode then and been satisfied, but the credits hadn't even run yet.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my god, the credits didn't even roll.
No, it's like that was just the start. And again, I'm gonna end this segment the same way I started it. This seems to be the way we're starting these shows now.
I'm here for. I think it works.
Episode one left us with a very, a similar calm terror.
Right.
Someone says something, an expert on a field tells us the reality of a situation and us just having to sit with it. And I don't know how many moments like that we have, but I will take as many of those as I can because if the showrunners are going to serve them to me, I'll take it. These are excellent moments.
Right. Yeah.
She's stealing the show from me.
Same.
Big applause for Christine Hakim.
Yeah,
well done. Incredible role.
Good job.
Incredible moment in a show that, man, like I said, I could have turned it off, but we ain't for nothing.
Not even sorry. Before we move on, I just want to throw just some comments really quick. We've got hellos from Nita, of course, and my mom. She's joining us.
Hello, ladies.
Hi, Mom.
And then
give me a good one. Don't just toss me some hellos.
No. He's affecting the whole new meeting of the show.
There we go.
Now that
look
is
at
a mom
bringing the show down to the low.
There we go.
And then here's a good one. I thought that she was getting bitten when she was so close to the corpse. Yeah, I was expecting the
Oh no, I was waiting for the chomp.
Yeah, I was waiting for you know. No,
right,
we can't go
move on.
free.
Yeah.
Moving on, Joe. Moving on.
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready for?
Yeah, let's fast forward to 2023.
Okay.
We're moving on to 2023. We are here. We've got little Ellie laying in like a fetal position, looking so peaceful. It's probably the only peace we're gonna get in this entire episode. While we've got Joel and Ellie. I'm sorry, not Ellie. We have Joel and Tess looking at Ellie, dealing with the ramifications of the last episode where they find out that that Ellie is infected.
Right.
And she says that she's not infected. She hasn't really explained herself. So everybody's just really waiting for her to, just explain what's going on. Are we going to have to kill this girl?
Yeah.
Like, we have a mission of our own.
That's what, he wants to do. That's what Joel particularly wants to do in that scene, is just end it and go home.
Yeah.
Really wonderful. Can I just say though, and I can see there are lots of images here in the thing that will reinforce this, but even that, how beautiful is that opening with all this overgrowth and this light coming into that? Look at the art direction of the show. Is incredible.
This is New York City, isn't it?
Beautiful show to
No.
They're
in Boston.
Boston, okay. No, because there's the one building that doesn't have too much growth or destruction. It's very similar to a build, but that happens all the time.
It's a beautiful looking show.
It is.
It shouldn't be because it's so grimy and dirty, but there is just wonderful art direction.
You know what it is? There's beauty in abandonment, because it's a very big thing to watch things decay.
Well, there's this really good shot that happens in there. You bring up the cinematography where, and it's at the very start where Ellie is explaining that she may be the key to the cure. She was instructed not to tell anybody this, but Tess and Joel, they explained that we're not good people. We don't care. The important thing is we get what we want. So you better just tell us the truth right now, because we don't have to do this mission. We don't have to. We have a mission of our own.
Exactly.
And the truth comes out that she may be the key to the cure, and the light is on her. Joel, you already pointed out, does not believe it. And in the scene, he's cast in darkness. And in between them is Tess, who, while she may not believe in miracle cures, the mission still exists. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. All that matters is getting her to the Fireflies so that they can get their battery.
Yeah.
That's it.
Can I just comment on what you said about the way they film this? Just as someone who loves film and how you stage a shot. You've got Ellie in the light. You've got Joel in the dark. And then you've got Tess moving in and out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's a visual representation of her mind working, her changing, going from Joel's perspective and just doing what Joel says to thinking, no. Like, this is the level of work they're putting into this. Everything they are putting on screen is purposeful and thought out.
Even the things that are small.
Can you guess I like the show?
Yeah, I think so. I think you'll be around for more of this.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that you had pointed out in our little group chat threw me too, like the little details that are floating around.
Yeah.
This is a scene from the video game where he runs across the giraffe, and that's obviously from Toys R Us, but this is generic giraffe toy.
Are you telling me Are you telling me that's Jeffrey? No, that's generic giraffe toy.
It's generic giraffe toy. And then you see the feet in the background and then the top of the mouth, and it's obviously the same toy. I thought that to your point about them being very specific and very detailed, even in the background as pans, they're very important. So it's one of those things you have to pay attention.
And I'm hyper aware that a lot of this art direction, comes from the original source.
Yeah.
I mean, they are doing shot matches as much as they possibly can.
Right.
My son, in fact, is a massive gamer, more of a gamer than anyone. Who, I believe it or not, I just had a conversation saying you must watch this show, and he refuses to watch it because he goes, "No, the game means something to me. I don't want it to be sullied.
Oh,
I can't deal with watching the show." And mate, I've sold him on watching the first 2 episodes now because I'm like, dude, you don't understand. No other property in video game history has ever been treated with so much care that these guys are treating The Last of Us.
Yeah.
You will not get a better adaptation.
No.
This is it.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant how much not just attention to detail, because I feel like when we speak of it this way, sometimes it gives the impression as if the creators aren't involved, when that's far from the truth. The actual voice actors will be jumping in to episodes, playing some roles. The cinematographers are doing their best to represent the game, because the game itself has there's cutscenes, but when you're gaming, the camera the whole time is like over the shoulder.
Right.
So we have to figure out how do we go and show, the best way to get the emotion and the feeling that you would if you were playing, but from, in this theatrical way.
Yeah, because
so
you've got to take
so
your iconic moments, don't you, and represent them. But in a game, you can move in any direction and whatever. So yeah, they've got to kind of still capture those key moments for the audience, don't they?
Yeah. It's brilliant. Even you know what? I'm gonna save that for later. But it's just brilliant how much involvement we're getting, not just from the film experts, but actually including the gaming the gamers, the gaming creating the game creators involved. That's wonderful. You're jumping ahead of me, Joel.
My
name's
no, I'm sorry, Joe.
The clickers were actually voiceovers.
No. I said you're getting ahead of me, Joe.
All right.
We need to bury the lead here a little bit, Joe.
Yeah.
All right. So we talk about this moment, and he, we know that they have this possible cure, right? No, Joel doesn't believe into it. Tess, maybe we're gonna give it a shot. They go and they explore the city. We talked about the overgrowth. But one of the first things they see, our first hint of the monsters to come, really, is that we see that travel has been blocked. There's dead lying all over the ground.
That's so cool, wasn't it? That was squirming on the ground.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they were almost mummified. They were almost some of them were mummified in the steps and things.
And I noticed when light moved, that affected them as well.
Oh, yes.
Disturbed when that light kind of moved around. That beautiful shot when they're on top of that building looking down.
Interesting. It's insane, because I think I don't want to say that it's fourth wall breaking, but when Ellie goes and asks, this is her first experience outside of the QZ. She hasn't experienced the world ever. So she's out here and she hears rumors, because I assume there's other teenagers. We didn't see any really in the scenes that we saw, but I can assume that there's other kids. She mentions going to school, and there's rumors about what's out there. So she asks, so is there a bunch of people just, she imagined a whole bunch of like zombies, running around the streets. And that's kind of what we see in The Walking Dead, Night of the Living Dead.
We've all been programmed to imagine that.
Yeah. And we have a very different atmosphere than, we've seen in other zombie, for lack of a better term, zombie films and productions in general. What did you think of the layout of the land and the infected, and how humans have to interact with it?
I think this is one of the big strengths of it. Like that scene you were talking about. I want to also mention what Tess says to Ellie about because Ellie's a bit cocky, I believe.
Yeah,
and
same.
like because she's not getting turned, she thinks she's okay, and Tess reminds her it still doesn't mean they won't come and rip you apart.
Right.
You have to be smart about what you do. So the fact, from a storytelling perspective, we get the lay of the land. We get a visual geography. We've got to go from point A to point B to achieve what we want to achieve. It is just so perfectly explained because you get it in the visual immediately. And in that same scene, they set up how the zombies are reacting during we'll call them zombies for lack of a better term, but how they're reacting by squirming on the ground. And we also get from this the moment where we realize, is it this scene? And I hope I'm not going too far here, where we kind of get to know if one of them, even if they're miles away from each other, knows something. They all know something.
Yeah. And there's a lot of truth in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not necessarily how it works in the game, but it is true that like fungus in general have an underground network. You know, it's not necessarily like a hive mind. You know, this isn't like the
Borg.
Man, it's not the Borg, you know, but there is a communication network, kind of like how our bodies work, you know, a central nervous system, you know, for fungus, if you will. So there's very much a that's based on real science, and they've managed to tie that fungus biology or
biology,
I can't say sociology, but yeah, we'll go with biology.
Well, I think most of us had seen
explain, you know, zombie movement and how they operate.
I think most of us have seen that little nature clip. I think everyone ever watched Joe Rogan. He did it once about the fungus and the ants.
Yes, and recently
how the spores spread. Yeah,
and recently that spread to deer.
And there's other animals as well, but it gets into its central nervous system,
and that's it,
and takes over. To the point where the ants recognize this, and they will take that infected ant and move it as far away as possible, because they know once the way the spores work, it'll explode and then infect the rest of the others. That's what makes it terrifying, because it's based on real friggin' science.
Yeah,
I'm scared, guys. I'm fucking scared.
Oh man.
And I live in Australia. I've got way bigger things.
You got a lot of you can't even go swimming in your pool. You know?
We see these guys traveling quite a bit. You know, they have a path that they want to go to. They're blocked off by this just mountains of infected. So they have to, you know, just figure out how they're going to move. They wander through hotels, which is really both you know, eerie looking, but also quite funny. You know, they had a horror score being played by a frog. You know,
yes, that was great.
Let me tell you that frog won Twitter. I was
watching I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that lobby scene full of water and all that, lovely.
Yeah, that was
great.
Incredible.
Great environment. It feels very much driven. Oh yeah, this is the scene in the game. This is like I said, the art direction.
I feel like these moments, there's not a ton of room for comedy, but these like small, for lack of a better term, family moments are where we're going to get our few moments of charm. We're going to see Ellie say she can't swim, and Joel just show how shallow the water is.
Yeah.
Ellie's never seen or been to a hotel before. You know, she was probably a baby when hotels were last in business. And
Mommy wasn't even alive.
Yeah,
very possible. But she goes with what limited knowledge she has, goes and kind of pantomimes what she thinks the hotel experience might be like, and she orders, "I'll have one sleep, please." I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, it was very
cute.
Good.
And there's going to be so few moments for that. It kind of reminded me of the Walking Dead episode where Carl was eating pudding
Oh
yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah.
Yes, just these small moments of joy before shit hits the fan.
And it hits the fan, all right. It hits the
yes,
fan.
it does. Because right after that, Joe, you got that clicker ready?
Oh yeah.
You know, we have Ellie who's been asking questions about what the infected look like.
Oh, she gets an answer, right?
And yeah, we do get an answer because we've seen some of the infected, but this is our first glimpse at what happens to infected that have managed to, I guess, keep moving and stay animated for years and years, as opposed to a couple of months.
Right.
You know, the fungus grows out of their skull, splits their heads, and we have the clicker.
Yeah.
How great of a design. And we'll go back to the video game guys here. Whoever designed that as a villain in the game, brilliant design.
Yeah.
Because it gives that fungus look and feel to it.
Yeah, because it even has the layers.
So horrific at the same time.
And it still has human features like the teeth. And
do you notice the teeth separated? Like the jaw's starting to split apart due to the evolution of it. It's just
right.
Good. Hey, can I ask you guys a question? You know, in the beginning when they go into the building, Joel punches one of the thing and he goes, "Oh, it's kind of hard rock now. It's kind of
petrified. Yeah, petrified.
It's petrified." Is that a natural thing that happens? So, because they also say in the episode, some live 2 or 3 years, some can live up to 20 years.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. So, depending on who you are in the hierarchy of those fungal zombies, you may last a certain amount of time, or you may live to 20 years.
Yeah, and if you watch the trailers, because I don't want to spoil anything from the game. Well, one, while I'm familiar with the game, I've not been shy about the fact that I have not played the game. Joe has played one through the game. He has not beaten the game.
That is correct.
But if you watch the trailers, there are tastes of things to come. If you want to take a look at what other monstrosities you might see, I invite you to watch the trailers. I'm not going to share them here right now because I want to keep this mostly spoiler free. I'm assuming you've already watched the episode. So we're only sharing stuff from the episode. But the trailer does show some things that you will see in future episodes. If you're really, really interested in finding that, go and find that on your own time. But not right now. Stick with us.
Yeah. Don't go. All five of you. Yeah. I gotta.
So we see these click. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, there's one thing that because we're talking about the whole fungus and everything. This one's from Nita. That's kind of scary but cool. Scientists suggest that fungi send electrical signals through the hyphae, similar to signals via the human nervous system.
Yeah,
exactly what I was talking about. Yep.
Yeah, you were just talking about it, but
great. I ain't gonna sleep tonight now.
Nope.
Yeah,
thanks, Nita.
and we see a little bit of that when you know, Jason, you spoke about the light shining down on the sunlight shining down, and they all just kind of withered away. They moved.
What happens
as
with
a unit
if that in a mushroom? You ever seen a mushroom? It blossoms in the morning, and then when it gets hotter of the day, it withers away. Like on point, people. It's on point.
It is. It's been great watching with the community, seeing just the whole Last of Us crowd, both people new to the franchise and gamers alike, all just hunting and learning together, just figuring things out, because there's elements that were never in the game.
That's right. And I'm just so happy that these guys who have all the love for a game are getting a show that is living up to and maybe exceeding their expectations. As a fan of some sort of genre, it's always lovely to have that experience where you go, oh my God, they made it and it's awesome. So, it's an exciting time.
It's not like Mario Brothers.
Gaming fans, don't say a bad thing about Super Mario. And you don't know that would be the second scariest thing you watch.
But I was talking about the 80s classic.
Yeah, no, it's just a really cool thing that's happening at the moment. It's a zeitgeist moment. It's a popular culture zeitgeist moment.
Yeah, true.
It's an amazing time, and being able to share this moment. It gets really frightening in here. You know, we see the clickers. we see these clickers, and it's actually just like Ellie described. She goes and asks, are these things real? One of the things she asked was about blind infected that, travel through sonar like bats. And that's exactly what the clickers are. You notice they have no eyes.
Yep.
And that leads to some terrifying moments because we've seen infected run really, really fast. But we haven't seen these clickers before. So now we see them almost with like this jerking motion because they can't just run straight at you. They got to try and find you. And it leads to these really scary moments where one of my favorite parts was the camera following Joel. And we see the clicker, a few feet away.
Is that when he's reloading?
The camera zooms in. Oh, yeah. The camera zooms in on Joel, and we no longer see the clicker, just like Joel doesn't see the clicker. He's reloading that gun. We hear the clicks getting closer. The camera pans a little bit out. We see that the clicker's a little closer. Joel knows it's a little closer, and then he, flashes the light a little bit before making the next move. It's oh my goodness, it's this terrifying moment.
Can I say I was watching it with my wife, and that moment, if you go to her Netflix, it's just full of like true crime, horrible murder stuff and all that. Nothing much scares her. I mean, she's married to me. I mean, come on.
Was in Australia.
That moment, she grabbed my arm.
Oh,
and I also went, I know this show is working well because nothing scares this lady, but that scare. And you're right, you're so right, Brandon. The way they fixated on Joel, God, it gets attention because now you like the character. You're sensory deprived. You don't have the visuals. It's
absolutely,
yeah.
This was a moment where things really go just downhill for the whole party. Because we have Ellie who needs to be protected. She has no gun. She's been asking for a gun the whole episode.
Gun, please.
Yeah. All she has is, may I add, a very scrumptious looking chicken sandwich.
Yes, that looked pretty good for the end of the world.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that bread pretty good. It hasn't gone moldy.
Yeah.
But no gun. So she needs to be protected. We have Joel, we have Tess, they're separated. There's 2 clickers around, and they're not easy to kill. That's the other thing.
Yeah, it's not like a headshot and we're done.
No, not at all. Like, these guys were not going down, and I think that was the thing that frightened me the most. Is like I kind of expected, all right, gunshot here. We're gonna get through this. These guys they may not be like level 1 zombies, but I was expecting them to still go down pretty quick. I was mistaken. I
think the reason is because of that fungi that's growing out. If you hit them straight on, that's absorbing a lot of it. They had to shoot him and get him in the back of the skull. That's how they were killing him.
Yeah. Good call.
Yeah.
And she should get a gun, Nita, for sure. I agree. Like, they need to give her. Well, now it's only Joel and her, so they absolutely need a gun.
Yeah. Don't get ahead of me now.
Sorry, we're getting into. I'm gonna have to grab this.
But this is where things do. Like I said, things take a turn for the worse. Because while we get through this obstacle, we don't get through this obstacle unscathed. We continue traveling. And we do learn. You are correct, Joe. You mentioned it. That
Tess.
First we see that Ellie got scratched.
Right.
She's the first one we see get scratched. And Joel is worried. Joel is terrified. It's like, all right, maybe it's true. Maybe she may have some sort of antibodies that could fight this. She survived a scratch. But two? Like, how many times can this happen to her before she transforms? I don't buy it. Yeah. Meanwhile, he's talking to someone who is also infected.
Right.
And Justin it just happened there. It wasn't revealed yet at this point in the show, but it's just so heartbreaking now looking back, watching him talking to her, all these moments he has with her, taping up her ankle.
Yeah.
He's having these
clearly
very
cared
small,
about
intimate moments
with
Tess. worried about their future, and Tess does not actually have a future. How did this hit you guys? In hindsight,
it hit me hard because it was Ellie that actually went, she's infected.
Yeah.
It was Ellie that called her, and I'm like, oh shit, how did she know though?
Yeah, that's what got me too. I was like, wait a minute.
How does she know that Tess was infected? Because it's clearly hidden by Tess.
Yeah.
Right.
The bite point. So does that indicate to you guys that potentially Ellie has a sense of some sort of supernatural sense that
she's connected to them?
It could be. It could
that
be.
Is it,
however, however, I will point out that it's small and you may not have caught it on your first watch. But she does show some Tess. When I say she, let's not play the pronoun game. Tess is she twitches a little bit. Even before revealing.
You're right.
And so
if her hand and yeah.
So it's possible that she caught on there.
I can guarantee that.
Also, we have this moment because we're now going in a way that they were trying to avoid. They run into this museum, and the museum, this was actually the meet point of the Fireflies. This is where they were going to go and meet. And in the game, there's a firefight that happens in the game. You're taking part in it. Tess is killed in this action. It's as this is going on where Tess dies. In the show, the firefight has already happened. We have a bunch of dead. I want to say some Fireflies and some Fedra. There's a few dead people there. They're trying to figure out what's going on. We can't complete the mission now. Joel wants to go back. He says it. I want to go back home. Let's go back home. And Tess says,
he says it repeatedly.
That's not my home.
Yeah,
that's not my home. And it's then where we hear she's infected. She pulls. She shows. I was trying to find a picture of the actual fungus reveal.
Yeah.
Like I did find an image of her, with a blood spot there, but I didn't actually see like the fungal like veins creeping up her neck.
Did she have it in this?
Yeah,
this one.
Like this is the image I found. That's the only sign that we get to see before the actual reveal. But that could have been anybody's blood. It wasn't until we saw the fungal network reaching up her neck. And we know she doesn't have a long time to before she turns, because last episode there was like diagrams showing how long it would take a person to turn.
30 hours?
On where they got. It depends on where they get bit. And if you're bit like in the neck, you've got about 5 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
So we knew she didn't have long.
What is the moment?
Joel is frozen.
Yeah.
And Joel is frozen at this moment.
Yeah, he doesn't know what to do, does he?
No.
He's in shock.
His future didn't involve Ellie. His future involved Tess.
He
and
would
now
be regressing back to the thoughts of his daughter.
Yeah.
He's going to lose somebody else that he cares about. All right. Now, in that though, particularly in that scene, there is and I hope I'm not getting too far ahead because it is in the scene. Guys, remind me, what was the moment that made? Because I tell you what, there's a few scary moments in that whole scene. One of them is the fact that I thought all those soldiers were dead from gunshot wounds. But they're not.
I believe some might be because there was absolutely some
that one guy they stumbled
onto.
Yeah, but there's that one guy that they stumbled onto in the museum that was
they turned him over and they showed his face. But when I walked in the beginning of that scene, I thought it was just a human on human gunfight.
Yeah,
that was the result of those deaths. It was not.
No.
There's definitely. Well, we definitely see more that this whole area, there is fungal growth all around it. And it's in this scene where we kind of see, or moments after this scene, where we kind of see a body get animated by the fungus.
Right.
That also connects to the rest of them outside, right?
Right.
Yes.
So that's the trigger point for
the chaos.
Yeah.
One of the bodies starts moving. Gets activated by the fungus. Apparently,
shocking.
I'm assuming he was the one bit that you mentioned, and there may have been others bit as well. But he was laying there, and then he starts moving. We freak out. Joel shoots, and now everyone's alerted. All of the people anywhere close to fungus is alerted. And this is really cool because they showed some scenes of it working, but you see the fungus wrap around a finger.
Yeah.
And it's not that they are so much undead, and still animated, as much as it is the fungus is alive and literally controlling the body, almost like a remote control.
Right.
Like
yeah. Oh my goodness. They just wrap around the body, and now we've got a whole flood of these monsters coming.
Interesting you mentioned the word flood, because flood was also the name of in Halo. Yeah, you played Halo? Awesome.
I love Halo. I told you I won a tournament, Australian tournament.
That's right. Yeah, that was the
flood.
Yeah, the flood. Yeah.
But really, come on, this scene, we're really teasing around the point. The best part of this scene is the discussion between Tess and Joel, because that's heartbreaking, right?
Yeah.
50, you've got minutes to make this decision. Not even that. You've got to make the call, and you've got to make it now.
Yeah.
And
you've got to go. If there's any hope that this is true, you've got to do the mission. And he's the one that's been wanting to go back home the whole time. And it's like, do it for me. Because as they already hinted at, they're not good people. And I don't think that's true. But in this parallel universe, people have made some decisions that maybe they regret.
Choices have to be made in a post-apocalyptic outcome. So
Tess has a whole backstory that was not put into the game, where supposedly her husband and child were infected, and she wanted to but could not put them down, and so she locked them in a basement. For all we know, they survived in that atmosphere and became clickers themselves. We don't, but that's
we don't know.
That wasn't included in the game. This was just concept material. Assuming that's true, assuming that is real, and I imagine she's feeling regret, remorse, and damn it, if we're gonna do something right, if we're gonna do something good, if we're gonna redeem ourselves for our misdeeds, then we got this is our opportunity, and it's by getting this girl to safety and finding and creating this cure.
Yeah, without question. And it's funny because the moment they, without jumping in too much, the moment that Joel decides, yep, all right, and makes the move, it's kind of flipped because Ellie doesn't want to go. We're not going without her.
Well, she doesn't fucking like Joel.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. She didn't want to go either. This is just the cards that life has dealt her. But at least while this was going on, Tess has been really cool to her. Tess has been trying, and Joel has just been a hard ass and not wanting to answer questions. Just not wanting to participate in these social interactions at all.
Can I say
so now?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to say, I will never buy another Zippo lighter again. Clearly, that.
Click.
You want to talk about the second part of that scene that, like, I'm on the edge of my seat going, God damn, that thing better light up.
Yeah.
My God.
So I didn't know whether the thing was whether it was too late or not. The show presents itself in such a way anything can happen. So you
Joe,
can't confidently go,
don't you click
"Oh,
nothing
will
yet."
work."
All right.
I see Joe looking for the picture. It's like, you wait.
Sorry,
You wait.
I got excited there.
I'm glad you're talking about it, because here's the thing. You're right. We've teased it long enough. The decision is we've got to go. But Tess doesn't want to just leave them hanging, and so the decision is, y'all go. I'm gonna blow this whole place up. The Zippo lighter is failing, like it is failing. The infected are now here, and this is where it's interesting comparing the zombies of literally any zombie movie and the infected of this show, because they're all running right past her. And it's not just like clickers who can't see. These are normal ones who can see, and they're not chasing. There's no need to chase. She's already infected. But
kind of like going back to Org, Joe.
Yeah.
Exactly. They would send people out, and unless you're a threat, they aren't interested.
Exactly.
But there must be a hierarchical structure within those zombies, because one in particular locks with her and moves towards her.
Right.
Yeah, so, and this leads us to our gross out moment of the week.
Play it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope to thank you, Jace.
Yay!
No. It's too long. It needs a couple of seconds cut off.
Now I hope, or maybe I don't hope, but I hope this will be a continuously ongoing segment that we have.
I think so.
On Shedding Light.
Yeah.
And this week's grossest moment has to be this man slowly walking for a very romantic host
host transfer,
host transfer, yeah.
There
we are.
Even looking at it now,
she is frozen with fear. She's frozen with fear, like at the point where she's not even trying to run at this point. All she's focused on is getting that damn Zippo lighter to light.
Yeah. Whatever time she has left in her brain, anyway.
If she had a Bic lighter, it would have been just fine.
It would have been done. Yeah.
I want to congratulate everybody still watching for as long as we had that image.
Yeah.
On the screen.
Yeah.
It is, oh my God. So this moment, it's frozen in fear. It is a refusal to, as it's happening, to stop clicking the lighter. It's like I'm not sure, like if I make any sudden movements, if I try to run, will it prevent me from doing this? I have to light this lighter. There has to be so many thoughts. Also, ew, how gross. I imagine that's going through her head. And might I add, I saw a picture. I wish I had it. But the actor, under all that prosthetic makeup, not a bad looking guy. and Anna Torf, not a bad looking lady.
Oh, she's
But in this situation where she's all bloody and fungusy and dirty, and he's all cordyceps, not the most romantic or sexy kiss I've ever seen on screen. I'll say that.
No, but I'll tell you what, it did raise questions for me was around, in that process, is it a painful thing? Because I get the feeling it maybe is not. Because if you were to take over something, you would not want it to be a painful experience, because then the body and the central nervous system would react to that. So I've got this theory that it actually becomes a pleasurable experience for the victim.
Interesting.
I
don't know.
I'm just making that shit off the top of my head, but I'm going.
It went really good though. I appreciated it. I was here for it.
I guess if I have to imagine it, the I don't know if anyone has been exhausted to the point of passing out. But when you start to fade that way, you don't, it's not, fading is not painful, you know?
No.
So I don't know if there's the discomfort, I imagine, might come from having this literal physical object, going down your esophagus. But I imagine, but if it's taking over, depending on how long it takes to get to pain or pleasure receptors in the brain, I imagine it'd be relatively quick. especially since she's already infected even before this moment. Anyway, it's probably not the most painful thing, but still.
I'll also add to that theory that it also, a lot of fungi has hallucinogenic properties. So I would guess that they'd be tripping balls at that point too.
You know what? Maybe it's more pleasurable than I.
It might be working out quite well.
I'm filling in the gaps of information I don't have with my own theories. That's all. But
you may have,
come on, as a scene of television, as a gripping scene of television, guys. Does it get any better than that? Like for a horror show?
I fainted once. It didn't hurt at all.
Yeah,
we have someone with experience.
Yeah, but perfect scene.
And I imagine it's even better on the shrooms that you talked about.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, what a show.
Yeah.
It's good.
You're looking at the
we've just covered the whole episode, I think, just about.
Yeah,
Not much is happening in that. See, this is what I love when this happens. When you're watching something and not a lot is happening. Oh, from the outside, you go, well, they already just went from here to here and that was it. But so much is happening within that at the same time.
Right.
So, I just love how they staged it all. That's all.
Yeah.
Because essentially, we got inside a building, we went to another building, shit went south, and now we're leaving the building. End of episode.
Also, I just want to take this moment before we start to close out, because you're right, we are at the end of the episode. Not the end of our episode, but the end of
Last
of Us. I wanted to take a look at Anna Torv for our our spotlight of the week. Character spotlight on
and that was probably the clicker that bit her, right?
Yeah.
No.
That was the clicker.
Yes. It was the clicker.
That was the clicker.
Yes. It's we
can I just say Tess as a character is I was not expecting that character in the show because any visuals that you see around, I mean, I'm aware of Last of Us, even though I played it, has always been Ellie and Joel.
Right.
And I've got to say this, I should have been hyper aware of, well, she's toast, because if she's not toast, she'd be on the poster. But essentially, I didn't even think that watching it. I was in absolute shock that they killed her, even though it was telegraphed to me that she wouldn't be in the show the whole season. Her performance, the actress who plays Tess, and I've seen her in some things before, so gripping, so natural, so you have a lot of sympathy for her, and you understand why she's had to become this hardened individual.
Right.
Tess is just wonderful, and the actress played her.
Yeah.
I guess the part where I didn't expect it might be Walking Dead's fault. I feel like there was a pattern where there's kind of a build up to death, and the death is normally at the end of the season. So while I know that in the end this is really about, this is a father-daughter story, and I knew Tess wasn't going to be around forever, I didn't expect it to be so soon, because we already had such big losses in the first episode that I thought maybe the big losses might come again. Episode 3, episode 4. Like, I'm not saying that she was going to make it all the way to the end of the season, but I thought she had a couple more episodes in her before, and if you played the game, you probably already knew better.
She did.
I saw the tweets. And they're all saying, they're all saying, don't go into the museum, Tess. Don't go into the museum. Everybody just screaming, no, don't do it, Tess.
That's hilarious.
And that's a testament to Anna Torv, because it's, they all know she's going to go, but even they grew to like the character, and they fleshed out her story far more than they did in the game. And so now they probably like her even more than they did before, and now they know that this inevitable is happening, and it just takes her breath away. She did an incredible job.
It's brilliant story writing, and it's a brilliant juxtaposition between how you're getting these characters and you're connecting with them for such a short amount of time. a lot of movies that you got 3-4 hours on, you don't get this type of connection. There's no reciprocation as to putting yourself in their shoes like you do in this show. And I think that these guys have done a phenomenal job.
Well, I think you mentioned The Walking Dead earlier, and the failure of that show is very simple, I think, converted to this. They know exactly what's happening here. They know where it's the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story is. And it's a very tight structure that they developed. So then they've got the ability to develop these characters. The problem with The Walking Dead would be like, oh, well, we'll develop these characters over a season and then we'll kill them off and everyone will just be automatically locked in. I think The Last of Us is showing that, no, the audience wants to see the story perpetually moving forward. And they've got a great structure to do that. So, yeah, I think that's the reason everyone's going, oh, look, this is so much better than the other stuff we've had recent years. And they're right. They're right. That's it for me.
Yeah, man. What a show. What a show.
What a show.
Are there any moments that we have not discussed yet that really stood out to you?
It's hard because I only watched it once. I think we hit all the major beats. I mean, I suppose the only thing is, where do we leave Ellie and Joel at the end of it is basically walking away from that bomb site, that explosion. And it's Ellie at the end of that episode who really stops and watches it while Joel's like now focused on the mission. Ellie, in a way, is grieving the loss of Tess.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how the episode finishes, which I think was great. And I definitely do not watch trailers for the next episode. And on our streaming services, they kind of ram it down your throat.
Yeah, same.
I'm like, no, get out of there. Get out
of there. You're good. I watched it. I sat there going, oh, hey!
No, I can't. I love this show so much. I want every moment to be a surprise for me. Every single frame, I want to be exposed the first time when I'm watching the episode.
Jace, do you think you'll be joining us next week?
I think I'm pretty well locked in. If you guys will have, I will crap on about it for as long as you want me to, because I think there's something really special here, guys. I really do. What a great way to start 2023 with a show like this.
Man, well, thank you for being here this week. I look forward to seeing you next week. Joe, I always love having you here.
I'm always here.
Nita, thank you for all of your comments. Mama Pombo, thank you for your comments.
And Dan,
love having you guys watch.
Deanie, thank you very much for popping in and saying hi. I appreciate all of you. And we all do. You help our channel grow. It is growing. We owe it all to you there. If you want to be part of this community, once again, it would be so great if you hit that subscribe button. You can share this video if you enjoyed it, and if you stuck around, I know you enjoyed it. So share the video, give comments. As you saw, we showed Nita's comments here. Your comments could be here too. So feel free to join the conversation, and we will shed light, and you will help us shed light on your favorite shows. Right now, it is The Last of Us. Who knows which shows we'll be talking about next? I look forward to seeing you all next week, but that's all for tonight, everybody. So from Joe Dove, Jace, and myself, and everybody at the Spectrum Sanctorum, it is time for us to turn the lights out.
Awesome. You guys are really fun.